My name is Kelby Ortiz. I'm the committee chair, co-committee chair for the NAHJ NABJ conference. I don't have my camera on because I am still at work, and I hope everybody can hear me a little bit pretty clearly because I have a mask on, and we're required to wear our masks in the office. I was out covering an assignment. So, I want to welcome everybody for coming to the English version of our session for call for proposals. Here, we really just want to be pretty straightforward and thorough about trying to make sure that when members pitch their proposals, it's pretty clear and concise. As you all know, we're all doing this with the National Association of Black Journalists, and the hope is that this will be in Vegas, although we're still not sure at this point, but at least at this point it should be in Vegas. So we'll find out. And yeah, we just, wanted to open this, go through a little bit of the proposals, what's expected, and here with our co-chairs, McNally Torres and Yoli Martinez. So I'll hand it off to sorry, not Yoli, McNally.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you for being here tonight on this. We're just gonna try to go through the form, which is pretty, I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but we just want to give folks some suggestions because we're doing this conference with NABJ, and we want to have a kick butt programming and to offer for our members, and anybody who has some really good ideas that you can incorporate into the programming will be welcome. So in order for us to select the best programming out there, you have to go through the process, and if you don't follow the instructions, it's like everything, we're not gonna get all the information that we need, and chances are that you are not gonna be selected. So let's just get started with this. Again, my name is McNally Torres. I'm on the NHA board. Some of you guys know me, long time journalist, being in Florida Health for the past 15 years. And I have a very hate relationship with the state. So I like to express that all the time. And so let's just get started with this. So I am going, I don't know if I share on the chat the form. You can right now go and does anybody, Kelly, you have the form? Can you share the link to that so I can see? Let me just go ahead and share it again because I know you guys are not. There you go. You can go right now and submit something. But I suggest that you look at all the questions and everything that is asking you to do, and do that in a Word file before you start copying and pasting. Okay. Because this form, this platform does not allow you, like, for example, if you're gonna apply for fellowships, there are platforms that allow you like to save and come back and keep working. No, here is like you have to go through this form, and when you're done, you submit it, and that's it. It doesn't allow you to save the information and come back later. Okay. So it's already open. And the deadline is going to be in March, Friday, March 4th at midnight. So, and as you know, the convention is in August. So I think, you have an idea and you're cooking this idea and you still don't have the people that maybe you want to submit. The other thing is that you should talk to your colleagues. If you are volunteering them to speak, they need to know about that because they need to supply you with a picture, with a bio, and there's also limitations of all that. And obviously pictures have to be professional. Picture in the beach with a beer, in your hand, it's not gonna cut out. So before we go down the questions, I don't want to forget that there's a limitation of how many proposals you can submit, and it's 2 per member. Okay. if you have 3 or 4 magnificent ideas, let's just say, obviously you can't submit them all. Well, maybe you can ask a friend of yours who's a member, and then they can submit it. This was an idea that it was offered by NABJ folks during their webinar, which I attended. And it's a good idea. So the other thing that I am going to volunteer here, since we're doing a joint conference, that we've been wondering about this, and I think that ideally, like all of us have friends who are members of NAHJ and also members of NABJ. Maybe you have an idea of a good session or a hands-on training, and this, members on both sides, and why not submit them together? Because we're having a joint conference. To me, that is the ideal situation. It's like when I was an IRE on the board and I was on the conference committee, we used to do that, but it was with platforms. We have the sessions where there was, sessions discussing whatever it was, data, where you have it, TV, print, and radio. And sometimes we will switch it with digital. So think about that. If there's somebody that you, folks that you have in both organizations. Okay, so Kelly or Jolie, you want to pitch in anything? And I think Yunin is here, and I want to, if she wants to pitch in something, to go ahead and do it too.
Yeah, I think the only thing I'll say is that this format that we're using this year is kind of different from what we've been doing the last couple of years, where we had like tracks. So because we're doing a joint conference, we are kind of doing a very traditional, like having members submit session ideas. But one thing we want to encourage fully is it would be great if a lot of the NAHJ sessions that get submitted are hands-on sessions, things where it's not just a panel discussion, people talking with fellow friends and coworkers about something they did like 2 years ago. It'd be great if people could come into a session and leave with like a tangible skill. So we highly encourage our members to do hands-on, technical sessions, because that is a lot of what our membership wants and needs. And those are the skills that get you hired and promoted. So we know everyone in this call has a lot of skill sets that you could share. And sometimes that's a great way to come back to your work, share a skill that you learned at NAHJ, NABJ conference, instead of just say, I also met a cool reporter from this place. But if you come back with a skill, it kind of like elevates the value of the conference. So that's the only thing I'll say.
Yes, absolutely. I am not a fan of sessions, college sessions of people talking about themselves and war stories. To me, the war stories, you leave them for the bar at night. That's where you leave the war stories. I think that you need to craft sessions that people are going to take something, with them that they can apply in their own line of work, new skills, new ideas, something that they're gonna take with them, that's just the best way to do it. Yunan, do you want to say something or not?
Hey, I'm just here to listen. Sorry.
Okay, that's fine. I just wanted to give you an opportunity just in case. And I know Kelly, well, just Kelly, chime in if you need to chime in. Okay, so yes? No, I keep going. Okay, so let's just get started. So, we got started, but let's just continue. So the first thing is the title of the session. As everything else, this is, to me, the way I see this is like writing a story, right? You want to tell a story, and you have a headline. So you need something catchy, and this form only allows you a 15-word limit. So you need to think about strategically how catchy that headline is going to be, right? Headline is supposed to be catchy, right? They're supposed to grab attention. So it's not going, I am not gonna get, in Kelly and Jolie, we're not gonna get your title if you write more than 15 words. It's not gonna be catchy. That's not what we're gonna get. So so just think about that. And sometimes I don't know, sometimes the title comes at the beginning or comes at the end after you write the description, okay? So then after that, you have to tell it whether it's hands-on, like what Jolie was saying, which is, you know, I am biased like Jolie is because I like hands-on sessions. I like to learn new skills. And that's something that IRE and NICAR always allows me to go over there and sit in my computer and learn something new. You know, whether you want to teach Excel or R or any database manager, which is something that I like doing. So, and you know, sessions, you know, you can, I mean, I think that we are gonna get a lot of stuff about the pandemic because that has been our life for the past 2 years, right? The pandemic. But I think that there are things that you can propose relating to the pandemic that could be attractive, could be something tangible that people can learn. I propose a session that it was accepted last year at the IRE convention, and it had to do with the pandemic, but because I have seen some things with the pandemic and hospitals and data that it was very similar to what happened in Puerto Rico after the hurricane. And because I was there and I work with CPI, the Center for Investigative Reporting over there, so I volunteered them. And I also volunteered this epidemiologist from the University of Puerto Rico. And we did this panel. And basically it's just, you know, comparing all this issues and challenges that you confront when you are covering natural disasters and man-made disasters. You know, how could you apply that in you know, in your work as you covering this developing news? And then if you want to do an investigation. So just to give you an idea of the things that you should be thinking that will be like different that you can you know, volunteer in your proposal, right? So obviously, you know, if you are organizing the session, you are going to be the person responsible. So you need to say that, you know, things that sometimes people offer things and then they don't want to be responsible. I don't know how that's going to work out. I mean, Jolie, have you ever encountered that or not? I mean, that's not basically the way that NAHJ has been doing things beforehand. But sometimes people do that. They want to volunteer. Oh, I have this great idea, but they don't want to be in charge of conceiving the idea.
Yeah, that's just different from how it's been done for the last couple of years. So everyone that talked.
So, you know, you are the organizer, you're going to put your name on it. And I don't know, here it says you it's asking you. So you click yes or no. Okay. So then you submit your name and your contact information. And if you are working with an organization and your title, and then then start asking you about the panelists, who's, you know, speaker number 1, speaker number 2. And like I was telling you, ideally, you know, you can find people, you know, depending on the topic and everything that you can have, you know, and then you talk to them, they say, oh yeah, I'm in, I'm going to the conference, you know, that would be great because to me, I love having a balance of things. And sometimes you might have a session where, let's just say you got 3 speakers and then you need a moderator. Maybe you want to moderate that. You know, I done that. You know, you offer that and then you moderate. And, you know, sometimes moderating, you know, bringing somebody who's really good, like, you know, TV person or radio person, they're very, very good at that moderating. You know, I picked up people from my task force to give sessions here this year. And the 2 people that I picked, one was from TV and the other one from radio. They were excellent, you know, so. But, you know, there are a lot of good people out there who are good at that too. So, okay. So then, you know, you put the name. Any questions? This is pretty black and white, very clear, right? No questions? All right. So the other thing, the people that you are volunteering to speak and yourself, very important, you need to be a member in good standing. If you are not a member in good standing, then you need to renew your membership. That's very important. Okay, because it asks you here if you're a member. So I'm pretty sure if you're volunteering somebody who is a member of NABJ or whatever, you know, it's the same thing. They need to be a member of the organization. They're asking for that in the form too. So, so then after this, you have to basically read all these graphs that have to do, you have to agree, you know, that you are responsible for this. You have to acknowledge certain things here with the organization. And the fact that, you know, probably this session might be recorded, you know, all these things are sort of kind of legalese things. You have to agree and acknowledge that you read that and you understand what you're agreeing to, okay? Which is something that we never do when we are, you know, agreeing to new apps on your phone or anything, right? Because it's usually the content is too long. So, and then it asks you for signature and the date. And then after that, it's the same thing for the panelists, I believe. And the moderator, if you have a moderator, is asking you for the same, that you have to read it and acknowledge. So if you're doing this with a group of people, right, you have the panelists, you know, you need to present this information, send them the link so they can read all this and everybody is aware, so there are no surprises. Because everybody's supposed to agree to all this, because you have to click yes. After that, you need to post the bio, and it has also a word limits of 150 words. So it cannot be longer than that. So you post all the bios, and it also asks you for your, you know, social media handles, you know, to share, you know, Instagram, Twitter for each person who's going to speak or is going to be the moderator. Then after that, you start going into the meat, which is basically the description of the session slash, you know, hands-on sessions. And it also has a limitation. It's only 100 words. So, you know, that's why I recommend to write all this stuff on a Word document that you can edit, that you can give it to a sounding board, to your friends. Hey, what do you think about this? To get some feedback before you start, you know, copying and pasting here, okay? Because it just gets a little tricky. And then we have, like Jolly said, we don't have tracks. We have like, I mean, I don't know, maybe you can call this track, I don't know. But we have some themes that you can, you know, basically you need to submit to. And somebody last night mentioned something, a photographer, about something that he wanted to submit something, a session about ethics for photographers to, you know, to have a discussion about that. One of the things that I didn't mention to him yesterday that I should have was that if you're gonna have something like that, I should have an attorney, you know, a media attorney to be part of that, that it can be present. But as you can see, we don't have among all these themes or slash tracks, I don't know, we don't have anything that will look like he can submit that under. But I told him that I will submit that on career. And that was something that I learned through when I attended the NABJ webinar. That the person, one of the co-chairs, she was saying that, you know, she is part of the politics task force at NABJ, I believe, and politics was never listed on the conferences. So she will find ways to come up with these ideas and just pitch it in such a way that she was able to submit that in other topics, and she will get them selected. Good for her. I think that's awesome. So so these are the topics that we have, and I don't know if anybody has any questions about that.
I don't have a question. I just wanted to add a comment because someone asked a question about what the process will be after they submit the proposal. And just in case everybody can't read what I wrote, is essentially that we will be going over the proposal with NABJ sometime after you submit the proposal. Like, well, we will, I guess, depending on how many proposals we receive, we would probably do it before or after March. And once we look at them, you know, if we see that there's some commonalities, we may ask you to buddy up with the with our counterparts at NABJ to combine the session. That would be a possibility. If there may be some questions, we may follow up with you. If your proposal is obviously not accepted, we'll let you know as well. But essentially, we'll be keeping you in the loop in terms of what the status would be, the final status, the status of the proposal, and if it's accepted. I would imagine to be sometime after March that we will let you know for sure if it's been accepted. So I just wanted to let everybody know that.
Yeah, we have no idea on the timeline. How's that going to look like? We don't know how many proposals we're going to get. We know that we have a conference committee on both organizations. They're going to work on this and, you know, selecting all this. But I'm expecting that that's going to be, that's going to take a lot of time from all of us, because there's going to be a lot of discussions and there might be some disagreements on things. So, and I think that ideally, yes, there might be some duplications. And I think that COVID, the pandemic, obviously, right? Those are huge topics, and there might be some things that people in both groups that are similar to me. To me, the ideal thing is to combine them. Why not? So we just kind of have to wait and see how that works. Does anybody has any questions about the themes that we have here?
Doesn't look like it.
No.
Will there
I would just
be, I
continue.
mean, that it's just limited to those, Kelly?
You know, that's a good question. If there's something that you think, if it's not included in the tracks, I would not. I would include. I would click on the one that you think is closely related to that track, and also, right, when you're filling out the proposal, the part of the application or the proposal for, I'm trying to think what would be the best way to stick stick that like thing in, because I understand what you're saying.
No, I just about that. I just talked about that. I talked that somebody last night asked that question. He had a good idea. He's a photographer, and what he would like to submit is something, you know, to have some sort of session about ethics. And what I told him is that, you know, that should be included. If I was writing it, I will click it. I will include it into the career professional, you know.
Okay.
Okay. So the example that I gave from the NABJ folks, the same thing. She said, you know, they never have politics on the list, and I had the politics task force, and I will always write a session, and I will always find a way to get into one of these themes, and it's just how you write it and how you pitch it, right? You writing a story, you're writing a pitch, you know, it's like when you are submitting for a fellowship, you want to be selected, so you have to write it in such a way that is different, that is catchy, that is giving something. To me, that's the most important thing. It's like giving something tangible to the membership. That, again, like what Jolie was saying, and I've been saying, like, you know, that you go back home and you are energized and you're like, oh my God, I want to copy these people, what they did. I want to do it in my little newsroom, you know? So just think about that, and, you know, just try it. And, you know, if you have any questions in that regards, you can always reach out to us. Our email addresses are on this thing, I believe. But I don't know. I mean, I think that, you know, there are ways here to submit a lot of these things. And it's just how you write it and how you pitch it.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
only thing I'll say is that I don't, because this is a joint conference or stuff in this forum that like gets decided by the other groups and stuff. So it kind of came together like a Frankenstein kind of form. I think for us in general, like the track that you select is not going to be as important as your title and description. So just go with the one that's closest. But I don't think we're going to be like, oh, we're only going to allow 4 career sessions or only like 2 on-air sessions. I don't think that's the way we're going to be approaching it. So for us, at least, it's not a huge deal. So just pick whatever's closest. Your description is what matters the most.
Exactly. Because that's what we're going to
McNally,
be reading. That's what we're going to be reading, you know, and the more attractive you make it, the better. So,
McNally.
yes.
Hey, it's Israel Balderas. I have a question for you because some sessions, it seems they're popular every year. One of the ones that I saw from this past summer was the one that was put together for the academic track, trying to give advice to journalists who are mid-careers. Maybe they're thinking about going into the classroom, you know, what are the requirements? You know, what's the difference between getting a terminal degree versus getting a master's degree? Is there an argument to be made that some sessions, because they're just popular across the board, they should be submitted in the same way they were submitted last year, or should there be something fresh and new based on the trends that are happening now? What's your thought on that?
Listen, there should always be something French and new. I would say yes. I mean, I get what you're saying. Yes, there are sessions, you know, like I'm a big IRE. I go to the IRE conference every year, and there are sessions that are super popular, you know,
Right, right.
you know, but you always should strive to bring new people and also have something new, right? So obviously, that area that you're talking about, academics and mid-career, you know, now with everything that has happened with the pandemic, I can imagine how you can submit. And I am sure somebody's going to submit something like that. Submit something fresh and new for people to attend a session like that. You know,
Well, and
we were talking about a session on training the trainers.
Right.
How did you know somebody like me? I've been training journalists for 15 years all over the United States and Latin America. And I learned that with IRE people. They were the ones who taught me how to train. So a session on how to train the trainers, it's sort of kind of, it's different. It's not academics, but still it's like, right? It's
well, and that's why
it's good.
And that's why I was thinking that, you know, we have so many good former journalists, now academics, both at NABJ, NAHJ. I'm sure multiple people are going to submit, you know, how do you transition from the newsroom to the classroom? And I'm wondering, I'd love to get your all's panel thinking on this, but what if, for example, I'd love to give advice on how we can get more Latinos and more African Americans into the classroom. But I'm one person, and I'm sure there's other people who want to do that. I wonder if you can submit so you can say, look, I think this is a panel that needs to happen. It always is every year, very popular. I'm willing to be a panelist or a moderator because I'm sure it will be submitted multiple times. Does that make sense? Like that will just fill up quickly.
You know what I would do? And I know you don't have a lot of words to submit in this, but this is how, hey, editing comes into place.
Exactly.
I will submit some statistics because you know very well, and too bad that Jessica is not here, that the number of Latinos and also Blacks in academia, teaching journalism is not that high. So that will be the first thing that I will use. I mean, again, you think like you're writing a story. You're writing a story. You want to make this catchy, right? And now because of the pandemic, people are, you know, with everything that has happened in the past, I'm gonna say 2 years because it's gonna be almost 2 years, right? People are leaving jobs for a lot of reasons, but there are a lot of people who are like journalists who are burnt out. They just want to do something new. And academia might be the perfect fit for them, especially if they have a master's degree, you know? So
and we just
you
went
write a story. You write a little story and you pitch it.
Yeah, we just went through that. I was in a search committee. We were hiring for a lecture of journalism. I can't tell you. I mean, we put it out there. We got very few applicants from communities of color. And then I went out. I called Jessica. I called people. I was like, look, do you know folks that want to apply? It is so hard to find African Americans, Hispanics, LGBTQ plus who want to be in the classroom. And yes, exactly what you just said. And that is, hey, look, we're trying to hire. Believe you and me, universities want you in the classroom. Help me help you. It's that sort of presentation. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I would also add that like NAHJ, we have several task forces happening right now. So we have our investigative, and then Jessica is obviously the head of the academic task force. I would like also just highly encourage you to even just talk to Jessica, because I'm sure that group is already going to plan to submit sessions, and maybe there's a way you could, brainstorm together, and at least that group exists and they're going to be presenting at the conference either way.
Yep.
But yeah, maybe just connecting with them and figuring out what kind of sessions they're already going to submit, and maybe figuring, what could make your session different, or even partnering with them to submit together.
Good idea. I will do that. Thank you.
Yeah, do that, because I know they're brainstorming, stuff. So, and, Jessica, because it's, as you know, the end of the semester, she's really busy, so she was not able to join us today. But the fact that they are already brainstorming things, that I'm sure they're gonna start, they're gonna submit for the conference. So talk to her is probably the best way to do. Okay.
Sounds good. Thank you.
No problem. So let me just continue on this. I mean, we're almost done on this form. So then after that, again, reading the instructions telling you, to make sure that you read everything, that everything is correct. And it goes down into attaching the headshots on, and gives you the different formats on the headshots, and it have to be professional again, pictures in the beach with a beer in your hand. It's not gonna cut it out. And then after that, let me see. I think that we're almost done here. Yep. I think that after that, we are going to submit this baby. I guess that's it. That's pretty much it. You got to make sure that you got everything, every box, you fill out the title, you fill out the description, all the names of everybody, their social media handles, your contact information, so we can contact you. If I don't know how we're gonna do this, but I don't know if this form has all to be filled. BA, can you chime in on that? Does everything has to be filled in for the form to be submitted? Because sometimes if you don't, there are some things that you really have to submit and won't allow you to go through.
Sure. So everything that you have or that's required has a red star next to it. There
Yeah.
are some things that, for example, like if you don't have multiple panelists, you can move forward without doing that. But you can see for the most part, the most pertinent information is required so that your submission, is as strong as possible. And then if there's any like social handles that you don't have, little things like that, I would just encourage you to put in like /A or not applicable. But everything's pretty clear for what's required.
And on the headshots, make sure that you name first name and last name for each picture, because we don't know, we don't know everybody. So, that's the way you need to name them before you submit the headshots. But I think in essence, this is pretty much it. And in there, it reminds you to make sure that you read everything, that everything is correct, and then you can submit your proposal after that.
And also, I just want to add one other thing. I know it says that we have you can add multiple panelists, and I would say I would recommend that you do that, because I'm wondering, my thing is, if you're going to have one person presenting this panel, it has to, I just would try to stay away from that unless it's something really compelling. That's something, a tangible takeaway that you think you would be able to present on your own. I would really stress that you have at least another panelist with you to do that, to do this, to submit with the proposal, because I think the more people you have, like if it's just, you know, 2 or 3 people, I think the better the likelihood your panel will be, your pitch will be considered or and even accepted. So yeah, I think that's something I just wanted to add. And I see that there's a question about the headshots.
Here it says on the format that need to be submitted. And as for what you were saying, I have never been on a session where with one speaker, unless it's something that is pay, I guess, I don't know. You know, you should always try to bring some different voices, people that have different backgrounds on the topic, so everybody's kind of provide something different. And that's what make things attractive, right? Like last night, when I was giving that, I felt to tell that member when he was talking about ethics and photographers, you know, if I was creating that session, I will bring in an attorney because that person is going to bring something valuable, right? The ethics, the legal limitations, and so that you can have a really robust conversation about issues that are happening, especially now with the protests and all these things that have happened. So that can lead to a really interesting conversation if you have the right people, the right people with the right background to sort of kind of contribute into that effort. So,
Hold on. Oh, hold on, McDowell, just before you continue. We have 2 questions. One is from David Huerta. In terms of like the minimum pixel dimensions, I don't really know. I think it says the minimum is a 1. It's a 1 minute. Yeah, that might be a what for BA. So I'll let BA answer that. Do you have the answer for that, BA, in terms of what are the minimum pixel dimensions?
That's too technical.
If not, I'll just answer the second one, which was how will this be reviewed? A large committee of both NAHJ, NABJ, NAH shares. Each subject matter will be reviewed. So, so we talked about this a little bit earlier. Essentially, once you submit your proposal, this will be reviewed by both us, the committee, which is about 6 of us, and also with NABJ, which is also another 6. We won't be going over by different the subject matter. We're just going to look at them all as a whole and see, we're basically going to look at them together to see is there a possibility to combine them, or is this something that can stand on its own? And the process, that will be done like sometime after March. And we will be contacting you and letting you know either way if it's been submitted or not. And if it's submitted, will this be combined, or is this something that you'll stand alone with your other panelists? I hope that answers your question. And going back to the minimum pixel dimensions, BA, is this something that you're able to answer? Because I don't really know the answer to that.
Yeah, I don't know if BA, and I don't know if Yunin can answer that question. Yunin is a photographer. Yunin?
So sorry, McNally, I had to take a call from Nora. I see there's a question about the headshot.
Yes.
And the file or the format.
Yes.
Okay. Was in the form itself, it does indicate that it needs to be high-res professional headshot, a JPEG or PNG format, and max 5 megabytes. But that's all documented in the form.
If I could clarify my question a little bit, a professional headshot will be fairly larger than 5 megabytes. So I'm wondering whether that means that the actual dimensions of the image will have to be small for that, or if they can be bigger. That's why I wanted the pixel dimensions.
Fantastic question. I don't have an answer for you right now. I've got to check with NABJ because that was their specs they had indicated. So David, I will follow
I
up
can,
with you.
I can help with a little note here. So
Thank
when you go on Photoshop and there's like a space to export an image and you do save as for web, you're able to lower the quality, so it goes down to 1 megabyte. So at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter how much pixels you have, but definitely keep them under 1200 on the length, because that's gonna help with the size. So just kind of play with it on Photoshop.
Thank God for a visual journalist. Woo.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for coming to the rescue on that. Was that clear, David? Is
Yeah,
that
it sounds good.
All right. Anybody else has any questions? I mean, and you know, and we have some timelines on the conference, and again, you know, I have never done a joint conference, so this is very new to me, and I have never done, you know, conference here, you know, programming with NAHJ. My experience has always been with IRE. So so it's, you know, we doing it joint and we're working together, and you know, in March we're gonna start sorting it out, and we just want people to submit proposals. You know, you have good ideas, submit them. And if we
The
can
only
answer
other
any
thing,
questions, right? We can answer any questions. We're here. Go ahead, Jolie.
I was just going to say, because we are trying to emphasize kind of hands-on technical sessions for NHJ submissions, some of them, they could obviously be led by one person, but we highly encourage you to have someone else in the room at least who could like co-lead or help or walk around the room and help people when they're stuck, especially when you're doing super teaching people code or Excel. People's computers do weird things because computers are weird. So yeah, even if it is a hands-on session, have someone else in there who can help you out while you're leading it too.
Yes, that's very important. Thank you for saying that. I forgot about that, which is always a pet peeve. I always ask for somebody to help me out when I'm doing training. Anybody else has any questions? So, you know, it's a story, has a title, catchy, interesting, talk to your friends, get your Word documents, start like, you know, writing, you know, get your sounding board, edit, make sure that you are following the word limit. And, you know, if you have any questions, we're here to help. We don't have answers on when we're gonna decide at this point, or you know, oh, would this be picked? I mean, I cannot tell you if your idea is going to be picked at this point, right? It's too early in the process. But if, you know, if you have, you know, you have any questions, and we can, you know, provide with good information to help you sort of kind of get that muscle going, and you know, getting your proposal. Don't send me a copy of the proposal to see if we're gonna, you know, that's not our role. And I don't know if that has ever happened to anybody, but I'm just, you know, throwing it out there. We want people to submit ideas, and have some fresh new faces in the programming every year. So. And if you guys don't have any questions and any comments, I can barely see the chat here because I'm the one sharing the I'm happy to know I can check in. Okay, I don't know.
One other thing, just so you know, for everybody, you know, this will be available online. We'll put it either on, we'll put it on YouTube, and I think on the website, and we probably just email it to members, so you'll have it as well for future use. So yeah, just wanted to add that as well. All right. So I'll have somebody ask where should we look for next? I don't know what you mean. If you're talking about looking, yeah,
The-
I'm
Mhm.
yeah, I'm not really sure what you mean. But But if you have like questions, if there's some, yeah, if you have like, if there's other questions, just like there are emails are on this application, on this form. Like I said, we're not going to look at your proposals, but like if there's some technical questions that we can help answer, we will try our best. But other than that, like I said, you'll have until March 4th to submit it. And yeah, that's really about it. So, all right.
So deadline, membership in good standing, 2 proposals per member. So you have more ideas, find a member to do it for you. Make sure that you're the one who wants to handle your idea, or you're gonna have to find somebody else to do it for you. But you know, follow the instructions and just submit your ideas. And I think that's pretty much it. There's nothing else that we need to add, I guess, other than thank you for being here and attending this webinar.
Yes, thank you everybody for attending, and we look forward to receiving your proposals, and we'll get back to you one way or another. All right, guys. So happy holidays to everyone, and a happy New Year. And I think that's about it. So we will end this recording. All right. All
Bye.
take care.
Thank you, Jolie.